Life doesn't pause when you're sick. Vaccines against respiratory illnesses can help protect you and give you more playtime with your best friend. Depending on age and health status, vaccinations for flu, COVID-19, RSV, or pneumococcal infection may be recommended. Vaccines can help keep you from having a rough time. Learn more at cveep.org/vaccines-protect. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and CVEEP, fighting infectious respiratory disease.
From personal ads to porn stars, astrology to testimonials, it's the hottest talk radio. It's the Derek and Romaine Show.
Derek here along with Romaine, and joining us now, it is Johnathan Walton. He is the host of the Queen of the Con, the Irish Heiress podcast, which they've done 6 seasons with iHeart True Crime. And he is the author of a new book, Anatomy of a Con Artist, Spot the Scammer in Your Life. Romaine, I'm looking directly at you right now.
How dare you, sir?
The book is available everywhere fine and dirty books are sold. Johnathan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's great to be here with you guys.
It is good to have you because you are going to discover as this interview rolls along that you have several points of interest for one Romaine Patterson personally as part of your life and past history. But the main sort of past history part of your life that has really been very consuming for you for the last few years is your own personal experience with being conned by a professional con artist.
Yeah, I got conned and it was hard. It changed the course of my life. And, when I went to police, they turned me away. So not knowing any better, only out of a desire for justice and to warn people about this biatch, I started a crusade. Police turned me away. Be damned, police. I started my own investigation. And what's magical, and this is one of the ways where being gay was such a blessing in disguise, because after I got conned, it literally never occurred to me to consider what people might think before I went to police. Like, I never even entertained the idea, what are people going to think? Like, I'm so scared. Never occurred to me. And yet, in investigating over the past 8 years, hundreds and hundreds of other con artist cases, that is the chief and primary concern of every victim. And that's what keeps them quiet. What are people going to think?
They think people are going to think they're stupid?
Well, they build their lives around what people think. Most people do. The reason, as you know, coming out as gay, you're not going to make a lot of people happy. Your family might disown you. Mine kind of did for a while. People aren't going to think highly. So I was adept at handling and not even caring about what people think. I was accustomed. That didn't even factor in. But it is the chief concern of every victim. And it keeps them quiet, the shame. Like, what are they going to think? That I'm an idiot, that I'm a this, that I'm a that? Never occurred to me. But I credit coming out at age 30. I'm 50 now. Coming out at age 30, 20 years ago, I didn't care what people think. You can't. As an openly gay person, you can't care what people think or you'll never leave your house, So yeah, I got scammed and got justice and made a big deal, and the world beat a path to my door. Other con artists, victims started reaching out to me. I started investigating other cases, and very quickly I discovered the same techniques that my scammer used on me are identical to the techniques. That's what my cousin Vinny reference, to the techniques that other scammers use on all these other victims and these other cases I started investigating. So yeah, the title of the book is Anatomy of a Con Artist. Subtitle, The 14 Red Flags to Spot Scammers, Grifters, and Thieves, because these are the red flags every con artist is waving. And as soon as I point them out, they'll be so obvious. But if you don't know them, you'll miss them like I did, like every victim does.
Are you at all worried that you're basically creating a how-to guide for con artists?
Not at all. They already have a how-to guide, and that's red flag number 14, ironically, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. That is Con Artist College. They read that book, they study that book, and they work those techniques. Mine did on me. My con artist, the Irish Heiress, would use my name all the time in conversation. Johnathan. And that's what I'm trying to say, Johnathan. And Johnathan. And I always knew when she did it, I just didn't know why. But that is a go-to red flag number 14 in the book. It's a Dale Carnegie technique. He writes, a person's name to that person is the sweetest sound they've ever heard. So if you want someone to like you quickly, use their name.
Well, and it feels like, because this happened, one of the very first, we have a segment on our show called What's Your Gay Problem, where we dispense advice. And I mean, that started from a prank phone call of somebody who said they had a gay problem with their gay boyfriend. But one of the earliest sort of problems that we had was a woman called in. She's like, "Oh, I'm having I'm straight, but I have this gay friend, and I just don't know what to do." And anyway, it turned out that the guy was essentially robbing her. And And she's like, "So how do I deal with this with my gay friend?" And we were both like, "This is not a gay problem. Call the police. Like, you are being robbed."
This is just a theft problem.
This is a evil problem.
I do think, to your point about the con artist and everything, is people are so emotionally attached to this person who is conning them and robbing them because they are feeling seen or loved by them, like whatever the emotional attachment is. It's very hard for them, I would imagine, to come to terms with the fact that they are being conned, even as a rational part of their brain must start to sense there is a problem.
No, it doesn't sense it at all. Here's the trick. And I get asked this question all the time. You're such a smart guy. How did you get conned? And I write in the book and I reply again and again, well, professional con artists don't outsmart you. They're not smarter than you. Con artists outfeel you. They use your emotion to scam you, because once you're making decisions with your heart and not your head, you are screwed. They get you to love them. They get you to love a cause or a situation they've created that is not real, but it feels real. And once they hook into your emotions, here's what my con artist did that was brilliant and sucked me in and makes me angry now, but it worked like a charm. And she had a different technique for every victim. So for me, when I confided in her that, I'd come out as gay 8 years earlier and half my family disowned me, I hadn't been home for Christmas for almost 8 years at that point. And then my con artist pounced. She said, well, my family disowned me too. They're trying to get me disinherited. And she started unpacking her inheritance story and her family disowning her. So all of a sudden, we weren't just two random friends in LA. We were two discarded souls cast out by our families. And that is a very powerful emotional hook that she put in me that I didn't know was happening. I felt, over the 4 years, she scammed me out of close to $100,000. Little by little, death by 1,000 cuts. People ask me, well, how could you give her so much money? I loved her. I loved her like a sister. We would end phone calls with, I love you, I love you. It never occurred to me she's a professional con woman on the run from police in Europe. It never occurred to me people like that exist. They will get themselves into your life to rob you. And then a lot of people say, well, she only got $100,000 from you over 4 years. That's not a lot. Au contraire. She was scamming dozens of other people at the same time. She pretended to be a psychologist. She had patience. She was scamming. She pretended to be a lawyer. She pretended to be the manager of a hockey team. She had so many effing personalities, so many scams going at the same time. It's just a marvel. The creative, I'm a reality producer, and that kind of saved me. It gave me the skills to bring her to justice and to interest police in my case when they turned me away. I'm enamored. I'm in awe of her boundless creativity. It's something to behold. It's, and they're all like that. She's not an anomaly. There are con artists everywhere. And the only reason you know about this biatch is because I outed her. That's the only reason we're talking about her. And is she in jail
currently, or is she still out conning people?
Oh, and I go back to that gay phrase that means something different to me now. It gets better. Oh, it gets better. So I got her convicted in my case. She got a 5-year sentence, but then bang, she's out early because of COVID. So she only spent like 2 years in jail, right? Wow. And then she disappeared into the ether. But because the podcast, Queen of the Con, we're closing in on 16 million downloads. It's pretty popular. Yeah. I start hearing from victims I know where she is. She's my new neighbor. I just saw her at the supermarket. I saw her at the gas station. She had moved to Maine. She started up a whole set of scams. She changed her name to Lucia Belaya. She started a satanic church. Not even going to lie. So one of the people that find my blog, because I start this blog after I got conned, trying to warn people about her, and it helped me find tons and tons of other victims and eventually build a strong case that police could not ignore. I got a call one day from a police detective in Northern Ireland back in 2017. He's like, I've been looking for Marianne Smith for 10 years. It's my best Irish accent. I'm not good with that.
Beautiful. Great work.
But he kind of sounded like that older, gruff Irish guy. He's like, we've been looking for her. And now he found her. So now he's going to start extradition proceedings. This is back in 2017. Now, at the time, everyone I ask about extraditing a U.S. citizen to a foreign country, it's next to impossible. She'd lived in Northern Ireland for 8 years. She scammed a bunch of people out of a bunch of money and disappeared. No one knew where she was. She changed her name, moved to a bunch of places, eventually wound up in LA as my neighbor, where she had this whole, that's how she knew enough about Ireland and stuff to pass as an Irish heiress, because she'd lived there. So he starts extradition proceedings in 2017. But everyone I talked to was like, this is never going to happen. 2018, 2019, this is never going to happen. Every time I find a new victim or a new con she's in, she's now raising money for the rescue missions in the Ukraine. She's claiming to sit on the IRA Council. I have recordings of her because the podcast listeners now become my investigative team. They're taking videos and they're sending it to me, and I'm sending it to this police detective in Northern Ireland. This is what she's up to now. But the straw that broke the camel's back 7 years later, is when she started this satanic church. And a victim sent me a video of her ceremony. And she's standing there in the video. I couldn't stage this if like Steven Spielberg wrote it and directed, right? She's standing there in a black robe. She's wielding a giant silver knife and candlelight's flickering in her eyes and off the knife. And she's saying, "Oh, Father Satan, I summon you." It is creepy AF, but that did it. I sent that to Northern Ireland, a deeply, deeply Christian country. And 3 months later, 5 federal marshals banging on her. She was living out of an Airbnb, an address that I sent to the Northern Ireland police because she had no idea. What I love about my life now, in the beginning, I was the marionette doll being manipulated on the strings, right? And in the end, I'm the effing puppet master manipulating. She has no idea. I'm watching her the whole time. I've got video, audio. She had no idea. I sent those federal marshals. So she got extradited. February 2024, she gets extradited to Northern Ireland. She's been sitting in a jail cell in Northern Ireland ever since, awaiting trial, which should happen in September.
And does she know that you're the one that sent the marshals to her? Does she know?
She does, because that's why she was living out of Airbnbs. The minute she got out of jail in LA, she fled to the furthest you can get from LA and still be in the contiguous United States, Maine. And she never established an address. She kept moving from Airbnb to Airbnb to Airbnb.
Wow.
Scam. New scams.
Now, I know that you struggled initially to get the police interested in your story. So I am curious, because with your podcast, you have explored other con artists over the years. How common is it for people who are being conned to not be believed? And how do they get out from under that if that's happening?
That happens a lot, because that's what every con artist does. The minute you confront them, they turn it around and suddenly you're the perpetrator and they're the victim. Mine did that to me. And it's only because there's a God, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual, like everyone in LA. Only because there's a God why I got justice. Here's what happened. So police turned me away. Initially I accept it. Initially I'm walking out of the police station like, all right, they're right. They tell me it's not a crime because I gave her the money. This is a guy in a badge, a cop, like he must know what he's talking about. He's like, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. It's not a crime, blah, blah, blah. And I start walking out of that police station. I'd gone there at 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning, which is an ideal time to report a kind of complicated crime because you have privacy and you have time. There's no one waiting behind you. so you can take your time and explain what happened. So I'm walking out of the police station. I put my hands on the glass door and I push. And as the wind from the outside hits me in the face, something in me wells up and I'm like, this can't be right. This makes no sense. So I turn back around, thank God. By then it's 5:30 a.m. because I'd spoken to him for half an hour. No one's there. So I can say, hey, I was just thinking, this doesn't make any sense. When scammers trick the elderly out of $10,000 claiming to be from the IRS, the elderly gave them the money. It was still a crime. When a guy holds up a 7-Eleven and sticks a gun in the cashier's face and says, give me the money, he gives them the money, but it's still a crime. So you gave them the money, it's not a crime. That doesn't make any sense. And then immediately I had a satchel. I came prepared. I'm a TV producer. I come prepared. I start dumping all the evidence. I got bank records. I got phone records. I got emails. I got printed out text exchanges proving she told all these crazy stories for me to give her the money. That's got to be a crime. And immediately in that moment, the officer, he seems impressed with me. And he's like, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, I'm a TV producer. I shoot back. I'm proud and angry and passionate. And he says, any shows I would have heard of?
Oh,
so I pull out the big one. Yeah, I'm like, Shark Tank. I did season 4. His eyes light up. Shark Tank. I've been trying to pitch something to the sharks for years. And then I had him. I'm like, listen.
You got ear hooks in him.
I did. And even though I can get in trouble for saying this because I signed a bunch of paperwork to work on Shark Tank that I can't help him, I offered to help him. I'm like, I'll help you get on Shark Tank if you help me. And he's like, all right, listen, I'll take a police report, but I don't think there's much we can do. But here's what you got to do. And he kind of took me in his confidence. He's like, you got to call about your case every day. And I'm like, what do you mean? You would think when you file a police report, it's in their hands. They're going to handle it. They'll let you know if they need you. No. He's like, the minute you walk out of here, by the end of the day, 500 other reports will be on top of this one. So every time you call about your case, they take it from the bottom of the pile, they put it at the top, and they talk about it. This guy, Johnathan Walton, he's a pain in their ass. He keeps calling. So he was right. I called every day. By the 3rd week, they were really sick of me, and they assigned it to a detective. And I heard from the detective. And then he called me the next day and is like, listen, I'm getting reassigned. So now your case is being assigned to not a detective, an officer trying to make detective. And I'm like, oh, great. This sounds promising. Okay. So I get assigned to the dunce of the police department. Turned out to be a nice guy. He interviewed me 8 million times. I didn't know I was being recorded each time. I didn't find that out till like the 3rd time. He calls and says, I just watched your last interview with my sergeant. And I'm like, you watched my interview? So you're recording me? He's like, yes, we believe you.
We believe you.
So it took months for them to believe me. And then, every time I would find a new victim, I'd send them to the police station. Every time I found a new con, I said, I kept tabs on her. So eventually she gets arrested. It took a year. It took a year. From the date I went to police to the day they arrested her was almost 12 months.
Wow.
And that's 12 months of me being a living, breathing pain in their ass. 12 months.
Now,
Wow.
did you ever consider going to the federal government, to the FBI, to?
I went everywhere.
Justice?
I called the FBI numerous times. And I have to temper what I say. Going through it, it feels like nobody gives a flying F. That's what it feels like. If you're the victim of a con, nobody cares. But that's not exactly true because I've investigated hundreds of cases now. Here's what's really going on. They're understaffed and overwhelmed. There are murders and rapes and brutal crimes that are happening that need their attention. And you're competing against that. Like, I learned, and I write this in the book, pitching a criminal case to police or to the FBI or to law enforcement, it's like pitching a reality show to a network executive. You got to make it sexy. That's how you stand out. You have to stand out. You have to be annoying. You have to be persistent. It's hard to get justice. And I realize now, not everyone's like me, but what I unpack in the book, the last 2 chapters, is exactly how to do it. In all the cases I've investigated, police turn the victims away. That's normal. That's their knee-jerk response. Not because they're being cruel or they hate the victims or they don't care. They're just overwhelmed. You're not dead. You're not bleeding. So go to civil court. Good luck. Let me deal
Jonathan,
with
you're
someone who
selling
really
me
needs
on
me.
being a con artist. I want to be a con artist now. Because if I'm
Listen.
a con artist, chances are I won't get caught. No one's going to believe my
Exactly.
victims, and I'm going to walk away with a lot of whatever I want.
But I will tell you this, one of the greatest emails I've ever received was from this college professor who read my story and emailed to thank me. She said, until I saw it laid out what Mayor did to you, Mayor is my con artist, the Irish heiress, I never realized it was happening to me. And right when I got to your story, there was an ask for money. So this new friend in her life had waved all the flags, done all the tricks, and now there was an emergency and she was going to give her money. And she said, I not only didn't give her money, I ran a background check, I found a criminal record, and I'm never talking to her again. She's like, I can't thank you enough. I wanted to interview her on the podcast, but she doesn't want any publicity. All I can tell you is she's a college professor in a certain state. That's it. I'm protecting her anonymity. But that, yes, we're not exposing anything con artists don't know. That's why it's such a popular thing. And I will tell you, for every con artist that is public, there are 8 million that no one will ever know about. Case in point, my mom. So after I went, my mom is not a con artist, but she got conned and she didn't tell anyone. And get this. So I went public with my story, and my mother admitted a truth she had held from me for my whole life. This woman we grew up with, she was a family friend. Let's call her Rose, not her name, because she hasn't been charged with a crime and I don't want to get sued. Let's call her Rose. So Rose was a family friend. Rose was at all my birthdays, Christmases, all our family events, graduations. Rose was there. Rose was charismatic. She was fun. She was so helpful. Red flag number 1, they offer to help you. She offered to help everyone. Turns out Rose scammed my mom out of 20 grand, but she was trying to get so much more. She was trying to sell my mom a house that she didn't own. But my mom didn't find out about this till years later. And then when my mom ran into a mutual friend in the supermarket, the friend, like that, Rose had disappeared. Another red flag I write about, con artists move around a lot. Red flag number 11. They have to move around a lot. A regular person will have 11 addresses in their entire life. A con artist, my con artist had 46.
Wow.
46. So that alone would have told me either she works in the military or she's a scamming. Because when they get busted, they got to move. And they know no one's going to out them, so they're fine. They can just scam people, a new place where nobody knows them, So my mom confesses this to me, that she ran into a mutual friend of Rose and another mutual friend on an airplane when she was flying, and they all got scammed. So this woman, Rose, this family friend, was secretly, quietly scamming my mother and her entire social circle. No one talked about it. She disappeared. No one talked about it until my mom confessed it to me. And I turned my mom into a little investigator. She started asking questions. And that's how we put this picture together. But Rose, still alive, she's probably 71 now. She's out there scamming up a storm. There are so many effing professional con women like Rose and like Mare, my con artist. Most people don't talk about it. Had I been a regular victim, I wouldn't have talked about it either. And my con artist would be out in another new city. She'd lived in Florida, in Maine, in Michigan, in New York, in Northern Ireland, in California, Arizona. She'd lived all over the place. And she just scams wherever she goes.
I'm curious because with your podcast, you do focus on female scam artists.
Oh my God, you and I are on the same page because I was about to go to exactly where you're going.
So I'm just curious, from your own investigating and research, how are male con artists and female con artists different? And do you think that people are more reluctant to come forward if they have been conned by a woman than by a man?
I think it's an equal opportunity crime. And I have investigated tons of male con artists, and I write about a bunch of those cases in the book. No, I think one of the things, and again, I discovered this after investigating a bunch of different cases, this dawned on me. This is one of the red flags I write about in the book. I call it's red flag number 13. I call it TMI, too much information. So you meet a new person for the first time. Could be a new boyfriend, new girlfriend, someone you're dating, new coworker, new neighbor. Mine was a new neighbor, and they come into your life and they're waving the red flags, right? Red flag number 1, they just want to help. Be suspicious of a stranger offering to help. Who doesn't love a helper? Exactly. They want to be loved. Red flag number 2, they are too kind, too quick. They want to do you favors. They want to pay for dinner. They want to buy you gifts. Red flag number 3, drama, drama, drama. They got a lot of drama in their lives. They're amplifying drama in your life. If you've got a crazy ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, they'll tell you, hey, I saw your crazy ex-boyfriend parked outside your house last night at 2 a.m. Like they're stalking you. Now, there's no way to prove that's a lie. So the person will just be, oh, I'm scared. They want you scared because when you're scared, that's emotion. Con artists don't outsmart you. They outfeel you. They're going to get into your feelings each and every time. So one of the red flags that keeps most victims quiet, this TMI red flag, all the way down the list, still very important. Red flag number 13, TMI, too much information. This new person in your life, all of a sudden, they start trusting you with their deep, dark secrets. They start revealing TMI. My con artist, on our second time hanging out, told me that her boyfriend at the time was this LA politician, big important guy she conned, that he's hung like a donkey and he likes a butt plug during sex.
Oh.
She's revealing all these deeply personal things to me early on, and that does 2 things. They all do it, right? TMI. It makes you think, A, wow, this person must really think highly of me to trust me with this deep, dark, secret information. A butt plug? Wow. And then it does 2. I can trust this person with my deep, dark secrets. So they gingerly start extracting all of your deep, dark secrets. You start sharing. We're human beings, right? If somebody waves, you're going to wave back. If someone says, hi, how are you? You're going to say, I'm good. How are you? We respond in kind. That's just our nature as social creatures. So you start sharing your deep, dark secrets with this con artist. So by the time the money exchanges hands, it could be months later. It could be 4 years later with me. The last thing a victim wants to do is A, tell anyone what happened, or B, go to police and see their deep, dark secrets end up in a police report, or worse, a court transcript if it goes to trial. Like, that's how con artists buy their victims' silence. They learn their deep, dark secrets, and they just hang on to them. They don't need to do anything. It's just the threat. If I go public with this crazy con, then the con artist is going to be interviewed by police and people, and they're going to tell him, no. I'll just limp away into the night.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, but it's so
Romaine
powerful.
Could
It's so effective.
Yeah, but
How did you get scammed? Who scammed you?
No one has ever scammed me. I think I could be a scammer.
I think you could be the victim
I'm
of a
sure you
scammer
could.
so easily.
No, the reason I say this is because I feel like I'm a little bit of a con artist when it came to dating.
Ooh.
So my trick was always being an active listener. Because you're right. Emotions are how you hook people. So for me, if there was a girl that was way out of my league, I would listen. And then she would tell me things. And then I would make her feel heard. And before long, I was fucking her. And that was totally my scam. Like that, I scored the hottest chicks that way. And I mean, it was stupid, but it worked. And I know, and I actively knew what I was doing.
Right, but I'll tell you, here's why you're not a con artist. And I think you're being too hard on yourself. This isn't your scam. This is who you are. You cared and you wanted you wanted her affection.
No, she cared about having sex with hot women.
Right. Well, that isn't fucking affection, or am I too old?
No, I think you're too old on that. I just wanted to have sex with hot girls.
What a tramp. An absolute
I'm
tramp.
not one of those emotional lesbians. I'm more like a gay man.
You weren't looking for money. You weren't trying to get money or trick her out of property or anything.
No, I was trying to get sex.
You just wanted to be. You wanted to be with her.
Temporarily, yes.
Well, who knows? You got to kiss a lot of frogs, right?
Yes.
So I think you're being too. I think you're being too hard on yourself. I don't think you're.
I
A
think
con
you're being
artist
too
doesn't
kind.
have. I mean, that is how I got con in the first place. But a con artist doesn't have. They're all psychopaths. I've spent a lot of time with an FBI criminal profiler. Her name's Candace DeLong. She's amazing. You should have her on the show. She's amazing. And she told me the vast majority of con artists are psychopaths. They don't have the ability or the concept to understand. They don't care about anyone. They have no feeling for anyone.
Right.
They're only in it to bring themselves pleasure. And a con art, a serial killer's pleasure is killing. a con artist pleasure is scamming. And it's not always about money. Sometimes it's just for the thrill of the scam. There are a lot of scams my con artist pulled, and a lot of cases I investigate, other con artists do too. They don't get money. They just get the satisfaction of creating worlds that do not exist. They get a godlike sense of power from it. And watching as they're shooting this movie in their head that no one knows they're being cast in, and we're all acting and doing exactly what they want us to do and say, they love that. Because people always tell me, well, your con artist was so smart. She could have had a career. I'm like, yeah, but then she wouldn't get the thrill of the con. That's why they're doing it. It's the thrill. My con artist, listen to this crazy con. No money involved. She befriends this woman, Tess, and convinces her that Jennifer Aniston is her best friend. Now, in any other part of the country, that would seem crazy.
Sure.
But in LA, in entertainment, it's possible. This woman knows Jennifer Aniston. They both live in LA. It's possible. I know some A-list movie stars. I can't tell you their names because I don't want to betray them, but it's possible. So Jennifer Aniston, and this is a red flag I write about in the book. It is the red flag number 6, technology. Con artists use technology to sell their stories. They're showing you their phone. They're showing you their iPad. They're showing you their computer, digital screens. They'll show you, look, Jennifer Aniston just texted me. But it's not Jennifer Aniston. It's a Google account she created in the name of Jennifer Aniston to text herself in the name of Jennifer Aniston to sell her Jennifer Aniston's My Best Friend story. So listen to this. In 2015, Mayor tells Tess, this new friend, Jennifer Aniston invited me to the Golden Globes, and she told me I could bring someone, so I want to bring you. Why would she do this? Jennifer Aniston's not her best friend. There's going to be no Golden Globes, but it's on. So Tess is so excited. She picks out a dress for the Golden Globes. She tells all her friends and family she's going to walk the red carpet of the Golden Globes. In LA, I mean, I think in the world, but especially if you live here and you work in any facet of entertainment, this is a huge deal, Tess is like excited. Sure enough, morning of the Golden Globes, Tess gets a text from my con artist saying, oh, Jennifer Aniston is having some trouble. She doesn't feel, she wants to be alone. She doesn't want, so I'm not going to go. So we can't go. Sorry. And Tess is devastated. So, I interviewed Tess on the podcast. And to this day, Tess is scratching her head. What was the point of all of that? Why? Why lead me to believe for weeks I'm going to the Golden Globes and like what? Because this is the thrill they get. They created a world that doesn't exist. And even though they're not making you miserable, they're getting off on your joy because they thought to themselves, let me fuck with this girl a little. I'm going to fuck with her. Yeah, that's what they like. It's their drug. So sometimes money's not involved. It's just about the con.
So I want to know, so with your con artist, obviously lots of cons have happened to a lot of different people. Have you guys created like a registry of cons from her? Like, we're the victims. We all could talk. We could all compare stories. I mean, obviously you've talked to quite a few of them, but like, do you guys have like a group?
Yeah. Yeah, we've had little get-togethers. Victims of my con artist, yes, and there are so many. And each story, in the unique way she scammed me, she scammed everyone else. I'll tell you Bob's story. So Bob, I saved Bob from her. Bob was a guy she met on Tinder. Bob is a big-time engineer in Newport Beach. Bob owns 2 homes worth millions of dollars. So Bob meets Mare on Tinder. On their first date, Bob, and again, going back to con artists don't outsmart you, they outfeel you. On their first date, Bob reveals he's unhappy. He just went through a divorce, and he's unhappy with the custody arrangement with his kids. That's really bothering him. Ding, 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 ding. Mare says, without missing a beat, well, as luck would have it, maybe this meeting is meant to be. I'm a child custody investigator for the courts. And I can help you. Red flag number 1, I just want to help. So, of course, these 2 kids, they were like 7 and 9 at the time. They're the most important things in Bob's life. And now this woman is going to help him get a better cut. Of course. So that's how she got in deep with Bob. Here's the scam for Bob. She told him the inheritance story, but it was different. In Bob's version, Mare's family has this 25 million euro estate she's inheriting, and they love her and they want her to have it. So she wants to buy a house. Now, here's how far you can get with confidence and a Range Rover, because Bob drives a Range Rover, right? And at this point, Mare had been evicted from her apartment because I'd outed her. I'd outed her at this point, and she had lived rent-free for 6 months because she convinced my landlord she had cancer and she was in the hospital. But I outed her and told my landlord, no, she scammed me. She's a scammer. Evicted her, so she's living with Bob, right? I don't know Bob. Bob doesn't know me. So she now tells Bob she wants to buy a multi-million-dollar house. They get a realtor, and they drive around in Bob's, big fancy luxury SUV, looking at all these homes with a realtor. She decides she's going to buy this $12 million Newport Beach home. $12 million, right? She gets a home inspection. She puts a written offer in on the home. She doesn't have $12 million, okay? But this is the facade. So why is she doing that? She tells Bob, listen, I want to buy this home with you. I'm going to add your name to the title. And Bob, being a decent man, says, no. I can't let you do that. If something goes south in our relationship, I'll own $6 million of your $12 million home. That's not right. Mare says without missing a beat, well, to make it fair, just add my name to the titles of your 2 Newport Beach homes, and we'll call it even. So then Mare draws up the paperwork for him to add her name to the titles of his homes. He's in that Listen to how, again, I'm not a religious man, I'm spiritual. Because there is a God, at around this time when Bob's getting ready to add her name to the titles of his homes, because he's going to get this mansion, Bob's ex-wife, his ex, suddenly gets very curious. Who is this woman, Mare Smith, around my kids? Who is this woman, Mare Smith, shacking up with my ex-husband? Let me Google Mare Smith. And then she finds my blog. And she's shocked because my blog, I just fucking, Mare scammed me. She's a liar. Don't believe a word she says. Don't give her money, blah, 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 blah. So the ex-wife prints out the blog and calls Bob and says, hey, I need to talk to you immediately. Let's meet at the park. And he's like, all right, I'll bring Mare. And she's like, no. Don't bring Mare. Come alone. I need to talk to you alone. This is important. So Bob comes alone. She says, hey, I found this about your girlfriend. Apparently she's a scammer. And Bob's like, no way, this can't be true. I'm going to ask her about it. So Bob takes the printouts of the blog, my blog, drives home, confronts Mare. Hey, I read this about you. What is this? And this happens again and again in every con artist situation when you confront them. She knows the jig's up. She doesn't say an effing word. She turns around, walks out of his house, runs to her car, and drives away. He never sees her again. The man she was getting ready to put his name on her $12 million mansion. Now, and Bob calls me to thank me. You saved me from her. Look how effing far she got in this man's life. And it's crazy that while she's doing this to Bob, she's got a bunch of other victims too. She just finished me, but I didn't go gently into that good night.
Wow.
I love that she used one of the oldest cons, the lost wallet con, on this guy over his houses. I mean, they did an episode of the Golden Girls with this, remember, where a guy finds a lost wallet at the mall and a nun is walking by and offers advice on, oh, you should just open a bank account and you'll all put your own money in it. So everybody's putting their money in, whatever, blah, 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 until you find out whose wallet this is. And so she did this with the houses, the same.
Yeah, it's a variation. Absolutely. Yeah. Human nature is human nature. And professional con artists are experts at manipulating, using human nature against us. By the time I met my con artist, she was in her 40s. She was at the pinnacle of her career. She had been conning since she was a child. I heard from a childhood friend of hers who, at 10 years old, 11 years old, both of them are. My con artist was 10 or 11. This girl was 10 or 11. Mare tricked her into going into a stranger's house and trying on a stranger's clothes in their bedroom. Why? Because they enjoy it. She told her it was my house and this is my sister's bedroom. Why? Because they get off on it. Even from that age, she got off on manipulating people with lies. Later, when she was in high school, and this, hats off, this is a brilliant effing con. She's in high school. she's dating college guys. And she's dating a bunch of them. She was pretty promiscuous. Nothing wrong with being promiscuous.
That's right.
You know, we all like what we like, right? Not judging at all. But she would hit up each of these guys she was banging and say, listen, I'm pregnant and I need money for an abortion. And they paid her so quickly. She made a fortune. She made a fortune.
Wow.
But this is who I was dealing with. By the time you meet a professional con artist in adulthood, they're refined. They've been busted a bunch of times and they're better than they've ever been. Each time they get caught, they get better.
Well, I it's also important to remind everyone that con is short for confidence. You know,
Yes.
they want to get in your confidence. They want that level of intimacy. That is how it works. And you know,
Absolutely.
that's what they're trying to build and what you expose in your book. So I wanted to ask you, because on a recent season of your podcast, I know originally you had only planned, you know, to do the one season, and then,
Yeah.
you know, there have been so many
Clearly,
con
there's a
artists.
lot of great material here
Yes.
to explore.
Yes.
But
yeah, there is.
a couple of seasons ago, you covered Jen Shaw, who is a Real Housewife who has gone to prison for fraud. And I'm just curious, in your investigation of con artists and everything, it can't have, and especially working in reality TV, it can't have passed your notice how many reality TV figures have ended up being investigated or in prison or indicted for some level of fraud. So, what is this nexus between con artists and fraud and reality TV in from your perspective?
I think it's again, we go back to the psychopathy of it all, right? Con artists are largely narcissists. It's about them, 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 them. And they are drawn, the hubris takes over. They eventually they get away with it for so long, and they eventually feel invincible. And that was certainly Jen Shaw's case. And what I love about the Jen Shaw case is, and again, you'll see this in not just con artists, but criminals and evil people in general. And it goes back to that famous Maya Angelou quote that Oprah cites all the time: when people show you who they are, believe them. People are always revealing themselves if you can read between the lines of what they're saying. Jen Shaw, before she was ever busted, she did an interview because people kept asking her, and this is one of the red flags. I write about Jen Shaw in my book under the red flag of number 9, a good day job. Con artists have a good day job, but that's not their real job. That job is just to trick you and distract you and give them the patina of legitimacy. Meanwhile, their real job is conning people, but their fake job that you see, that's just to make them look like a good person and make you think, there's no way Jen Shaw is a scammer. Look, she owns this company. She's a housewife. But she's a housewife to distract you from the real con she was pulling. So in one of these interviews, long before she was arrested, people are perplexed about what exactly she does. And she said, quote, "I'm like the Wizard of Oz. Nobody knows I'm there. I'm the one pulling all the strings and levers, making everything happen." And if you've seen the Wizard of Oz, you know the wizard was a con artist. He was a complete fraud. He didn't have any power. It was literally smoke and mirrors. So here you have Jen Shaw admitting, I'm the Wizard of Oz, but no one got it. It's only looking back, sifting through the wreckage of this scam, you're like, oh, she totally outed herself on national TV, but no one got it. Yeah, she really was the Wizard of Oz. Her entire empire was built on fraud, and it came tumbling down. I think they're drawn to these positions, and ultimately it's their demise, but they don't know it because they get away with it so long, and they want the adoration, and it's a big distraction for victims. If I become a famous housewife, who's going to think I'm a scammer? No one. And no one did until the feds showed up and put her in cuffs. She got away with it for a long time. It works. It works until it doesn't. Every jig is eventually up, and that was her time. And it was, oh my God, that episode was just amazing. Where she's like, you see her, she's on the phone. You know what they're telling her on the phone? I'm guessing they're raiding your house. There are federal agents taking all your shit. And you see her eyes go like this. And then she's like, I got to go. And she unbuttons her mic and she gets out of there. When the FBI targets you, they don't just come out to your house. It's a multi-pronged approach. They are simultaneously raiding everywhere you are. If you're at a restaurant, they're going to go to your house, they're going to go to your friend's house. Anywhere there's a crime, they go at the same time because they don't want to give you time to burn evidence. They don't want you to trash a drive or erase stuff. They want to get everyone at the same time. So the fact that Jen Shaw got that phone call a few minutes before the Fed showed up, kudos to her accomplices for warning her, because that wasn't how that was supposed to go. The Feds should have got there at the same time they got to her house. But there was a few minutes disparity. So someone had time to call her. You know that scene where she's in the limo and she's like, I gotta go.
It's amazing.
Yeah. But she got far. She got far. She made millions of dollars for a long time scamming elderly, desperate people.
So I have one more question about your con artist. So she conned $100,000 out of you. She had all these other cons going on. Some of them were about money. Some of them weren't. Was she well off?
That's the thing. And again, I go back to it's not about the money. She would always use the money in another scam. So listen to this. In the 4 years I knew her, she moved 5 times. Oh, that's a sign. Like I didn't know. This book wasn't out yet. I didn't know that con artists move around a lot is a red flag, but it is. If someone's moving around a lot, like any one of these 14 red flags in my book doesn't necessarily mean you're a con artist, but as they start to compound, I often have this fantasy, knowing what I know now. If I'd met my con artist today, would I know she's a con artist? And the answer is absolutely. Why? Within the first 20 minutes of talking to her, she's waving almost all of the red flags. She just wants to help. She's too kind, too quick. My God, there's so much drama, this inheritance. She's telling me, another red flag, 12, stories from faraway places. Con artists love to snow you with stories from faraway places because they're hard to confirm. Mare came from Ireland. Her great-grandfather was the founder. Like all these crazy effing, I don't know, like human nature being what it is, if you can't prove something's false, you're just going to accept it as true. Stories from faraway places. So I would have known within the first 20 minutes of talking to her that something's up. Something's up. This woman, like, these are too many red flags. And then I would have run a background check. And guess what? Nothing would have come up under the name she introduced herself under, Mare Smith. No, that's not a person. So I would have said, that's not her real name. What is her real name? I would have snapped a picture of her license plate and I would have run her plate. And then and there, I would have seen the felonies for fraud and grand theft and forgery and shoplifting in multiple states. And I would have never talked to her again. I would have nipped it in the bud knowing what I know now, and these are the red flags I write in the book. Once I point them out, yeah, they're obvious. It's like standing in the middle of Times Square. Thousands of people are going by you. You can't really notice anything. But if I tell you, look for the guy with the brown hat and glasses, you could spot that guy 100 feet away. There he is. There's the brown hat. These red flags are like that. When I point them out, they're obvious and you can spot them. But if you don't know what they are, like I didn't know what they were, I just thought, oh, who's this kind, bubbly, charismatic person who wants to help me? And she's buying dinners and taking my husband and me on vacations in Palm Springs. And she's got so much money and she's got this story. Oh, and her family discarded her too. So I connect on that. Like, I didn't know. I was just, I was the puppet.
So Johnathan, who is the target audience for your book? Because I'm curious as to, do you want to protect people? Do you want people to know how to protect themselves? Like, what is the audience for Anatomy of a Con Artist?
It's both. This book will prevent you from getting scammed. This book will enable you to spot the con artist in your life. Because just like what happened to my mom with this family friend, oh, this effing woman, if I ever saw her again, I think I'd punch her in her 70-year-old face. I get so violent sometimes. Scammers like bring out the worst in me. I'll tell you a story. So I'm a vegetarian, right? I'm a live and let live. I don't kill anything. But in the months after I realized I was conned, I became a different person. I started having murder fantasies, like detailed, graphic murder fantasies. I was throwing her off the top of our building and watching her body hit the ground. I was strangling her, watching the life drift out of her eyes. And here's the thing, I enjoyed it. I reveled in it. It brought me peace. It brought me happiness. It did. It did. And I remember telling my best friend, Evan, this, and the look in his eyes like, dude, you need to get help, man. Like,
Yeah,
this is not
I would think you need therapy at
normal.
that point.
Right. And so I looked into therapy, right? Because I don't know who I am. Like, I'm a vegetarian, live and let live. And now I'm like killing this woman a million different ways. But I come to find out it's normal for a victim to fantasize about hurting their perpetrator. It's totally normal. And it went away on its own because I was getting therapy. It went away on its own and it hasn't been back since. And I don't want to hurt her. I get who she is. These people don't have souls, right? You and I, we have, and I say this in the book, even a mob boss who orchestrates the bloody murders of hundreds of people, a mob boss loves his family, loves his kids, loves his mother, his uncles, his aunts. Like, even a mob boss has a love and respect. Con artists do not. My con artist scammed her own family, scammed her, used her child daughter when she was a child in her scams to scam. It's disgusting. Con artists are allegiant to no one. They have no feeling for anyone. So I don't view Mayor or any con artist as a person. I just think they're like these robots sent on Earth to train us, to spot them and make us better, stronger. And I say this in all seriousness. I'm glad I got scammed. I'm glad. It felt like the end of the effing world, but having gone through what I went through, I am so much better and stronger. And I'm shining a light on this thing. And I've stopped so many scammers. I can only imagine how many people I protected from my con artist. I stopped her. How many people have I saved? I don't know. Dozens, hundreds over her lifetime? I don't know. But why did it take me? I don't know. But it did. It ended with me. So I'm glad I got conned. It turned me into a better person. And I wouldn't want to go back to being naive Johnathan Walton ever again. And to answer your question, my book is twofold. It's to point out these red flags so you can spot these family friends who are scamming people. And the last two chapters in the book, I lay out how you can push back. If you're a victim and you want to go to police, here are the tricks that work for me. I'm not a lawyer. I've just lived it. I got turned away too. But you know what? That police officer who turned me away was wrong. It is a crime. If someone gets money from you through deceit, it's grand theft or grand larceny by coercion or by deceit, or they have different names in different states and different counties and municipalities. But stealing money, taking money based on a lie is a crime. Yes, it is. So don't let them tell you differently. You can't just go to cops crying. You got to produce a story. You got to have evidence, text messages and emails, and you got to Vanna White the evidence and present it. And you got to do their work for them. You got to have witness statements. And the last two chapters of my book, Anatomy of a Con Artist, I teach victims how to do that. So I'm hoping and praying I'm not only going to stop scams in progress, but, shine a light and help people know how to navigate the system.
I feel like I already know so much more just talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And mission accomplished. I appreciate that.
Now, I wanted, because we're very out of time, but I wanted to switch gears here on a couple of things that would be of vital interest to remain. One is, you mentioned that you previously worked as a producer on Shark Tank, but you also worked as a producer on American Ninja Warrior.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. I love that show.
I love that show.
Yeah, that's
now
a fun show.
Now I can tell you want to hear some gay shit?
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
Gay shit that I would do. So, and again, I wouldn't reveal this anywhere but here because this is not appropriate. What I'm about to reveal is not appropriate. And if I could have gotten fired over it, but fuck them. I don't work there anymore. So, no, it was a fun show to work on. So, American Ninja Warrior, right? If you're a gay guy like me and you like hot guys like me, so many hot guys are competing, right?
Oh,
and what they don't show you. So my job, I was a story producer. So it was my job to watch hundreds of hours of footage. And we had like 60 something cameras throughout the course, everywhere, So it's my job to take 20 hours and make it 5 minutes.
Okay.
I got to pull together all these shots, whatever. So very early on that show, as the gay man in me, a lot of these guys are free ballers, right? So their cocks are just swaying in the shorts, but we can't use those shots because they're too gratuitous. But I would create a file for myself. I
Oh
would
my
just say
God.
all the fucking... So by the end of my run on American Ninja Warrior, which again, if anyone is hearing the story, they would never hire me again. But I'm not committing a crime. I would just save, like, these are the shots that'll never make it. But my God, the free balling on that show that you never got to see. Never got to see. Yeah, it was.
That's a shame that we never got to see all that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know. And I tried, I never took it with me. That is probably, we all have regrets. The biggest regret on that show, I should have exported that file and made a video.
Yeah.
Because I'd still, it was like hundreds of guys.
Wow.
Going through the course, the shots that, it's just beautiful. I loved it. But it's this quiet pleasure like I couldn't talk about at the time. Like, I can't be, hey,
amazing.
Jenny, look at the dick on this guy. Because we're all, all of us story producers, I worked in a bullpen with like 20 other producers. So we're all like quietly doing our thing and going through the footage, and it's not something you could talk about freely, or it's inappropriate. But like, this show strikes me as a little inappropriate. So I feel like it's
a little. We're a lot inappropriate.
But you know what? Hilariously, this has been going on since Robin on the original Batman series, where they were like, we have to change your costume because your penis is too large for American television.
Yes.
Like this, and
it's so unfair, right?
Yeah. And there was a Survivor contestant. Oh my God. A guy who won Survivor, where they had to put him in basically like the way that they would camouflage battleships in World War II by having patterns on it. Like, they tried to camouflage his giant penis in his underwear by having him in, like, basically camouflage underwear. But America saw it anyway. Like, there was no way around it. It was too big. But like, this is actually like a legitimate, like, behind the scenes part of reality TV that people don't realize, that like trying to hide men's gigantic penises is a constant and ongoing battle.
It is. And and it's a fool's errand because, and it's sexist if you think about it. Women, we exploit women since the beginning of time, right? We're always showing their tits and cleavage and everything, and that's okay. But God forbid you show full frontal on a man. It's not allowed, and it's wrong.
No, I disagree. I think I'm with you. It should absolutely be.
Absolutely.
I'm an advocate for full frontal men's nudity. Not that I want to see your penis, because I'm not interested. But I like it when shows are like, here's a man's penis.
Yeah, no one was on same show, American Ninja Warrior. They didn't care about women's breasts bouncing around while they go through the course.
Right.
No one's stopping those shots. But we couldn't use big dick swinging. Why? They're covered. They're not nude. Like, I would make the case,
because it got you excited. That's why, and it might excite the women of America too much. They'll be hysterical.
I don't know. It was NBC. Maybe Fox would have let it go. So one last thing I wanted to ask you about. So you won 4 regional Emmys working in Texas as a news reporter there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But one of the cities that you worked in and covered is a place that when this airs, Romaine will be living in or actively moving to, which is San Antonio. So do you have any suggestions or advice for Romaine Patterson?
Because everyone's telling me I'm going to hate Texas.
No, listen. I only moved to Texas for work, right? I went to journalism school. I got my first on-air job in San Antonio. San Antonio, I love. It was my greatest. It was the salad days of my life. My first 2 years on the air over there, and it's a great city. It's a big little city, and Texas has such a personality as a state. But regionally, Dallas is different than Houston, is different than Austin, is different than San Antonio. San Antonio is a small, big town. The Riverwalk is just beautiful.
I love the
There's so
Riverwalk.
much natural beauty. So many hikes to go on. The people are so warm and friendly. And the food, oh my God, Tex-Mex in San Antonio. Go to Chacho's. Chacho's in San Antonio. Highly recommend.
Okay.
You're going to love it. Don't let them tell you, I know.
See,
again,
Derek, stop hating on it.
I'm a liberal, right? I'm a liberal. Maybe I'm not liberal enough for a lot of people, but I consider myself a liberal. And there's this liberal view of places like Texas, but it's from people who've never lived there. I've lived there. And, there are a lot of beautiful things in Texas, a lot of beautiful people, and San Antonio in particular, Austin in particular. It's an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
So you can go, oh my God, Barton Springs in Austin is this natural spring that you swim in. It's huge with like cliffs and waterfalls. It's like, I love it. Texas is beautiful. I have great memories there. I think maybe this is a sign. Like everything's going to be great for you. San Antonio is great.
I hope so.
Yeah, it will be. Love
See,
that city.
Derek, it's not going to be bad.
You know what? As a person who has impetuously moved more than 1,000 miles away from home, I have no judgment of your impetuous move more than 1,000 miles away from home. I hope you like it. It makes me nervous.
It makes me nervous too.
You're going to like it. Listen, life, I've learned at my age, you will find, it's like Google. You will find whatever you're looking for. So with that, go with the right attitude. San Antonio is going to be great.
Yeah.
Take it as a sign from the universe. You were meant for me to tell you that. That's the message for me. I love San Antonio. Loved it. I'm going to visit there too. I'm going there for my media tour in end of this month when the book comes out. But this is October. So I've been there in August.
I believe
I was just there. I was just there promoting the book. I had a great time. It's a phenomenal city, San Antonio.
Yeah, it's a great
Love
place.
It. Go to the Riverwalk. Go to the what was the restaurant? It's this restaurant that rotates something of the Americas. But any little mom and pop, and that's what I miss that I don't get in LA. I cannot get a good breakfast burrito to save my life.
They have some excellent ones in San Antonio.
Oh my God. You can't swing a dead cat in San Antonio and not hit a phenomenal breakfast burrito. Everywhere's got them.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere's got. That's what I miss. And they're $2 or $3.
You know what I'm excited about?
You get a breakfast burrito. It's like $55. Like what? And it's not even that good.
I can't wait for HEB. I'm not going to lie. That's what I'm the most excited about.
You're bringing it all back to me. I missed that. We don't have that in LA.
Right. They don't have it. HEB is the bomb.
It's this gigantic fucking, this is what an American supermarket should be. They don't have 2-liter bottles. They have 3-liter bottles. They're like fat 2-liter. Like everything is big and they have everything. In LA, you need to go to 3 different supermarkets to get your stuff. In San Antonio, HEB. They got everything. They got the organic section, the vegetarians, everything.
It's
amazing.
I
miss HEB. God. And it's cheap. It's so inexpensive.
Well, look, Los Angeles doesn't believe in breakfast. Breakfast
That's probably true.
Is a cup of coffee and a cigarette. They don't believe in breakfast in Los Angeles.
True.
They only believe in brunch and power lunches, and that's it. But generally, they don't believe in eating, which is insane. But anyway, I love to eat.
Me too.
Jonathan,
Me too.
thank you so much for being with us. I hope everyone checks out your book. It is Anatomy of a Con Artist. Spot the scammer in your life. It is available now everywhere books are sold. And you can also check out his true crime podcast from iHeart, Queen of the Con. It is, if you like the juicy stories here, it is juicy story after juicy story.
I love that.
In his podcast. So check out Queen of the Con as well. Jonathan, thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Thanks for having me on the show, guys, and good luck with the move.
Thank you.
You're listening to Derek and Romaine. Well, there you have it. The end of another perfect episode of Derek and Romaine. And if you want more great fun, go to dnrstudios.com and subscribe to get our show every day. And don't forget, for DNR Plus subscribers, you can use the DNR Cast app for iPhone, available now in the App Store.